Hello and welcome to this lecture on fluid needs during physical activity. Fluid plays a number of important roles in exercise. When we talk about fluids, we're speaking of water. One of the primary roles of water in your diet is to help your body produce sweat. And sweat is your body's ability and its mechanism for actually helping to eliminate heat. Fluids help transport oxygen and nutrients to your muscles, while removing waste products like lactic acid from your muscles. At rest, you lose about 4.5 cups of water per day, this is even without exercising, through the evaporation from your skin and your lungs. If you fail to compensate for the fluid losses, this can lead to dehydration. And so because with physical activity, the majority of people will be sweating more, fluid needs go up in physically active people. Sweat is important for cooling your body's core. Blood carries heat from your body's core to the capillaries near the surface of your skin. Heat is released from your skin to the environment. Water in sweat evaporates from the skin, causing heat to be lost. Evaporation cools your skin and the blood at the skin's surface, and then cooled blood can return to your body's core. So sweating helps cool your body's core, and in turn helps you avoid overheating or heat stroke. During physical activity, your body loses water primarily by sweat, but secondarily through breathing, where that water is exhaled as vapor. If you're very physical active and at very high physical activity intensity levels, you can lose up to 6 cups of fluid each hour. A body water loss of greater than 2% will lead to reduced muscular work capacity, whereas water loss of 7% of your body weight can lead to total collapse. When it comes to sports drinks are only necessary if you're exercising at very intense levels or in very hot environments for a period of greater than 45 minutes or 1 hour. Different bodies have different recommendations, so I put both there. Some say 45 minutes and some say an hour. People who have larger body masses will have greater sweat losses. When it comes to monitoring your own hydration, the best way for you to know if you are well hydrated is to monitor the color of your urine. If your urine is pale or light yellow, you are adequately hydrated. If it turns a little bit darker yellow and is concentrated and smells pungent, that's an indication of dehydration. The darker the color of your urine is, the more dehydrated you are. Some people think, oh, well, it's urine, it should smell bad. That's actually not the case. Your urine should not smell bad. If it smells pungent, that's an indication of very concentrated waste sources, and you need to dilute that with more fluid. Heat stroke. Heat stroke is a medical emergency that demands immediate medical attention. Sweat is, as I mentioned previously, your body's evaporative cooling mechanism. Heat stroke is very serious, and some symptoms of heat stroke include things like clumsiness and stumbling, confusion, dizziness, change in mental status, headache, nausea, vomiting, and rapid heart rate. The temperature exceeds that of 104 degrees Fahrenheit. The body will conserve water by not sweating, and the person will experience muscle cramping and a racing heart rate. At the initial outset, the skin will feel cool and moist in the early phases of heat stroke, but later on will become hot, dry, and flushed. How much water do you need to drink? If you're physically active, you should be encouraged to drink an extra 4 to 8 cups of water the day before your event. Drink 2 to 3 cups of water 2 hours before your event, and then drink 1 to 2 cups of water 5 to 10 minutes before your event. You should be training with regards to your physical activity, as well as your food and your water, as components of being really well prepared for an activity. If you're exercising for long periods in the heat, things like 4 to 6 hours, you should consume salty foods like pretzels, chips, or crackers to help replenish lost sodium. But again, if you're just doing casual exercise for an hour or so, you don't need to worry about eating salty foods. Replenishing fluids is very important, and training to know how much body water you lose per hour of intense exercise is important for establishing how much you individually need to replenish while you're working out. So a good way to do this is to do a test. Weigh yourself before and after 1 hour of strenuous exercise. Okay, so let's say you're going to go for a pretty high intensity run for an hour. Weigh yourself prior to that and know that for every 1 pound you lose, that is equivalent to 16 ounces of water. Okay, there's 16 ounces in a pound. You should replenish, usually the recommendations are pound for pound. Okay, some guidelines say 80 to 100% of that. But for the ease of our exercise, let's just say if you lose a pound of water, you're going to replenish with a pound of water. Okay, and you're going to want to spread that out during your exercise in 15-minute increments, because you can't just go and chug a whole pound of water usually at one time. That wouldn't be good for your digestive tract. So let's say during that hour of the strenuous run in a pretty high temperature, you lose 2 pounds. Okay, so you've lost 32 ounces. You should replenish that with 2 pounds times 16 ounces per pound, which is 32 ounces over 1 hour of exercise. If you spread that out in 15-minute increments, you should be drinking roughly 8 ounces of water every 15 minutes during exercise. Okay, because 8 ounces times 4 15-minute increments is 32 ounces. So a person who knows that they lose 2 pounds over an hour should be conscientiously drinking a cup, which is 8 ounces of water, every 15 minutes during their exercise. It's also worth noting that if you don't train properly, you could potentially run the risk of becoming overhydrated and causing water toxicity, which leads to hyponatremia. Hyponatremia means low circulating levels of blood sodium. For endurance sports of many hours, you need to replenish your electrolyte levels. Profusely sweating without replacing sodium can lead to hyponatremia. You're much less likely to become hyponatremic than you are to become dehydrated. Dehydrated is much more of a concern, but if you consume way too much water, you can cause your blood sodium levels to drop so low that they basically stop being able to pump your heart. Symptoms of hyponatremia include things like bloating and puffiness, confusion, seizures, severe headache, and vomiting. Okay, risk factors for hyponatremia are generally limited to people who drink way too much water or who exercise for a period of greater than 4 hours.